Welcome to the Let's Talk Data podcast series presented by SAP, where we explore game-changing technology and strategies with leading experts with the goal of maximizing the value of data across your organization. If you haven't done so already, please follow or subscribe to our podcast on your favorite channel to stay tuned in.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our SAP Let's Talk Data podcast. The podcast is titled How to Optimize Your SAP S/4HANA Cloud Investment, ROI, with Executive Data Management and Governance. My name is Corrie Brague. I am from the SAP Product and Solution Marketing team, and I'm going to be your host or moderator for today's podcast. So let me start by introducing you all to our speakers today. We have Nadia Vincent. She is a part of digital transformation leaders specializing in digital transformation, AI, and innovation as an executive advisor. And then we also have joining us is Tina Rosario. She is the head of data innovation and a chief data officer at SAP. And so with that, let's kick things off so that we can get into it and have them share their insights around this topic. So Nadia, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your experience with business as well as IT transformation initiatives?
Yes, Corey, my pleasure. I am Nadia Vincent, the CEO of Digital Transformation Leaders. What we do is digital transformation, innovation, and artificial intelligence implementation. And I've been implementing digital technology solution for the last 2 decades, over 2 decades. And what we do generally in implementing digital solution is really transforming the business from the industrial age to the digital age. And I've done that for companies, mostly Fortune organization. And lately, as we move more into the digital age, we get more small and mid-sized organizations that we are moving in the digital age to compete in the new digital economy.
Thank you, Nadia. And Tina, tell us a little bit about your background and any similar experience there?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Corey. I think like Nadia, this is, I think, a big passion of mine. I come from a strategy consulting background 25 years ago, moving into SAP. And one of the first areas of opportunity for me at SAP was to join the team to build SAP's own data management program and capabilities. And so it became a real chance for me to jump into it as a program. We spent a significant amount of time building up new capabilities, starting with customer data, moving all the way through the various different domains and areas of the business. At the end, we delivered over 70 million euros of value. And so now, between my consulting background and my practical experience from SAP, I advise customers on the importance of data in driving successful business transformation, engaging with usually senior executives to hold their hand, to provide some lessons learned and experiences to help them ensure that they're also successful.
Thanks, Tina. So Nadia, when we think about digital transformation, what would you consider the success formula for data transformation as a part of that larger digital or IT transformation?
Well, successful digital transformation first starts with data. Data is an integral part of digital transformation because in the digital, what we get data. So if you are familiar with my book, Leveraging Digital Transformation, you will see a formula that I've created for transforming organizations. So the digital transformation success formula. And since data is it's key for any organization, the same success formula for digital transformation is the same one that applies for data in digital transformation. What it is, the successful formula, the digital transformation success formula is business transformation multiplied by technology transformation multiplied by individual transformation and divided by fear. So for data, in business transformation, we come to strategy. What is the data strategy? We need to transform that part. Then the technology strategy. What is the technology strategy to take advantage of data? That's why we get cloud technology and all the ecosystem created with technology to take advantage of data. Then we have individual transformation. It's the people, how you put leadership and rules in place so that people follow the right approach to data transformation. And all that divided by fear, because in digital transformation time, what we do is change, is transformation. So people are afraid when it's come to changing the habit, adopting new habits. So for data transformation, we follow the same rule, the same formula as for digital transformation.
Tina, what do you think? Anything that you would add or stress in terms of that formula?
I like to take a very practical, pragmatic approach in guiding customers on their transformation. And what I find is that many realize the importance of data. They want to be data driven. They know that they need to get the data right in order for their programs to be successful, but they struggle with how to get started, how to address data quality, data governance requirements. So I try to emphasize that there should be some very practical deliverables. In fact, I really stress that there is a data work stream within the transformation program that focuses on where and how to get started, defines who should take the lead, is it business or IT, agree on the roles and responsibility, agree on what's needed in terms of deliverables and data management capabilities, and then work that plan as a part of the program, and be very practical with having well-defined activities and ownership, and then plan the work and work the plan, I would say.
So yeah, this goes
Yes.
good because it's talking about kind of change management and how to handle that change, reduce the fear. How about on the aspect of agility? How does that work into? And either Nadia or Tina, you can attack that. Where does agility fit into the picture, the planning?
Yeah. I think it's based on an understanding and prioritizing the business context and the value drivers. So having very open discussions with the business on what are their expectations, what's the direction that the organization is aiming to transform to, having clear alignment on the vision and goals, and asking those good questions up front as a part of the transformation to get everybody kind of aligned on the same page, but being able to shift as those conversations or contexts changes. And we've seen that, I think, over the years, is that having a good data strategy and having a well-defined vision and approach is great until some catastrophe hits or some significant change happens in the organization or outside influences to the organization. So being nimble, I think, is really important while you're engaging with the business and getting the buy-in to understand that things could change and to be open to that flexibility. I also think it's super important to track progress against the priorities and be really transparent to some of the challenges, some of the achievements, the accomplishments, and to over communicate the work that's being done around data and the contributions that's being made to improve the quality of data, improve the customers and the employees' experiences with data. And so by being very transparent and over communicating, you're also giving yourself a window to understand, is this resonating with the stakeholders or not, and to shift accordingly.
That's very interesting. In fact, what Tina says, I'll take it and put it back in the formula. So when we look at the business transformation, which is the data strategy, so when Tina speak about the goals, the business objective, that's where they fit. We need to have the business strategies. What are the goals? What are we trying to achieve? For example, are we trying to improve our customer experience? Are we trying to improve our ROI? Are we improving our processes? What are we doing, and what are the steps? And on the other hand, as she speaks about when something, let's say a catastrophe happened, we need to take action. She talk about ownership. That's the individual transformation part. And that's where we need the governance, because in the governance, we need leadership team. That's very important to have a data leadership team, because that's the data leadership team that is going to define the authorities, the rules by which we play. And the thing is that everybody can, in every organization can invest in the cloud, but how you use it, how you structure your organization, how you structure your data, that's what's going to give the competitive advantage. In the governance, that's why we get the leadership as well. That's why we have the leadership team there. So if something bad happened, we already have everything in place, so we know who is responsible for what are the actions to take, and even in the worst case, when we do not know yet what are the action to take, but we already have a team to take action, and also we have the data. Because one other part that I will add is the technology transformation part. Today, with the technology, we have so many power for monitoring data to know what has happened. In fact, today, since we are in an open environment, we are not in silo environment anymore. So there are many rules to be applied. And with the many rules, there are many players and many rules as well. So you need all three of them: the strategy, the technology, and the individual transformation and leadership that is going to optimize the data transformation for any business.
I would just take that a step further, Nadia, and add that I think one of the critical success factors early on in the transformation is centered around business process change and understanding how are those business processes in the cloud, the new digital processes, how are we going to transform those processes? And how does that relate to the data processes? Is data going to be created differently with more automation? Is data going to be updated in a different way? Are there new data sets needed? Are there new capabilities needed? But really starting with the business processes and how those processes are going to transform. And then I think a second key step is deciding what data needs that transformation, what data needs governance, because it's, in my opinion, it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. You're going to have needs to different degrees of governance based on the kind of data it is, whether it's regulated data, whether it's sensitive data, whether it's third-party data or source data. And so really thinking about an approach that is geared towards identifying what's most critical, what's the business process change going to look like, and what data should be governed at what different levels. And lastly, I would just add that automate, right? So, in today's world, organizations are looking to take advantage of the various enablers and technologies that remove some of the human element, that allows for ease of use, simplified processes, automated with new tool sets, and to take advantage of those new capabilities that you get when you move to the cloud or when you move into a more digital world.
Okay, so
Yes.
we've touched a little bit on governance, and especially in the aspect of leadership and organization, how that's kind of critical to have established for a change and for agility. We've also talked about, Tina mentioned, making sure that you identify the key data that you want to govern. Not everything should be governed, as we know. Other aspects of data governance that either of you can comment on how that fits into successful digital transformation?
Well, from my experience, I've created 10 important action points necessary for successful data governance to be put in place. So I could quickly go to that, the list of those 10 things that must be implemented, that must be considered. First thing is to create a data governance leadership team, because they are the one going to decide and frame the transformation for data. Second, to discard the silo operating model, because the silo operating model was fine with the industrial age. Today, we are in a shared environment when it's come to data. So it's very important to redefine our business architectures and security that goes with it. 3, invest in data architecture and processing rules. And 4, develop an agile and data-driven culture in the organization. That come with the intersection of the people transformation, but it's putting together the technology, the people, and the strategy to get an agile and data-driven culture that everybody will contribute to and implement. 5 is to invest in data skills and technology for the organization to remain current. In fact, data skills is very new, and it's changing and it's improving every day. So it's very important for organization to invest in giving the people, the employees, the necessary skills today for data, not just the technology, but the skills. 6, to define data quality, standards, method, policy, and maturity levels. Because just like Tina was saying, not every data, not every process needs transformation. So that's why it's very important to define maturity levels, quality, standards, methods, so that we know what we are going to touch and what can be left to learn, and even the systems, what are the change in approach for the systems. Next, we have complying with audit security regulation while adopting towards risk management at all levels. And this varies for different industries, because different industries have different regulations. Some of them do not have to do with audit. However, when it's come to data, there are legal obligations and legal rules that varies with countries, with region. This is something that needs to be taken into account for every industry, every business. 8, invest in data transformation and innovative value creation. In fact, the digital transformation age is an age of opportunity. It's an age for innovation. And the innovation will happen because we put the data in an environment, in an ecosystem that allow us to get more intelligence, to innovate, to create with it. So it's very important not just to invest in cloud just to store data. This is outdated. There are so many possibilities and so many technologies that we can use with the data, with the cloud today, to create innovative solutions and disrupt. 9, optimize business processes. Just like Tina was saying, it's very important to review business processes, because today most business processes in every business is outdated and need to be reinvented or optimized. And when we come to process, in every process we have data. And finally, to invest, for every business need to invest in the employee self-transformation for better employee engagement, agility, and conception of data, treatment of data. That's my approach to data governance, creating an effective data governance.
That's very, very holistic coverage. Thank you, Nadia.
Yeah.
Tina,
I mean,
so
she covers
what do you
so
have?
many different things that
I know.
I try to kind of group them into kind of capabilities that are required for successful transformation and moving into the cloud, looking at organizational, process, operational, and technical capabilities. I think, though, if you were to look at all of those different points that Nadia mentioned, I would just suggest that try to understand what's your current level of maturity, because you may not be starting from a blank sheet of paper, that you may already have built up some of these capabilities. even in your old world, that can be transferred into kind of the new world. And then understand what some of the cultural challenges are. I think those are perhaps some of the more difficult ones to be able to have the right influence over those business leaders. And Nadia mentioned, and I wholeheartedly agree, that business data leadership is critical, but knowing who from the business to target, who will have the most influence and be able to be the most active sponsor, I think is important. And understanding how the culture of the organization works is something that shouldn't be taken lightly. And then lastly, I would say that consider that the ultimate goal here, with all the different, pragmatic examples and practical experiences, that at the end, it's all about data confidence and ensuring that the business can have trust in the data that they need to run the business, to generate insights. And that should always be top of mind, is, make sure that each of the activities that you focus on is ultimately going to deliver data fluency and a higher value of trust in the information itself.
So with that, I think that we're going to wrap things up. And I just want to thank everyone for listening to our SAP Let's Talk Data podcast. Again, we were discussing how to optimize your SAP S4 Cloud investment, and this goes for any data digital transformation, leveraging executive data management and governance. I really encourage you to take a look at the additional resources that are available within the podcast description, including a 3-part blog series from Nadia that covers many of these topics, and including opportunities of the digital age and digital intelligence. Also, please subscribe to the series and stay tuned for new episodes. We release them on the regular, and get caught up with the ones that you may have missed. So thanks again for listening in, and be well, everyone.
We hope you enjoyed the podcast. Check out the show notes for additional links to information. And please subscribe or follow to join us on the next episode of Let's Talk Data, presented by SAP.